So I've just done my gym session, and sorry for the voice, but I'm not feeling well at the moment, so my voice does sound very groggy right now. I'm feeling fine. It's just from kind of like having to raise my voice a lot during work. But I just realised that my favourite cafe that I tend to go to after the gym is closed today, so I'm going to figure out what to do instead when it comes to reading my book after the gym, as that's something I'm trying to get back into since coming back from Malawi. And so I'm just going to do my usual food shop instead, and we'll go from there. But I just want to show you like how close this idiot's parked right next to my car. Like, I'm parked right between the lines perfectly, and then they've just decided to go right in on the line, diagonal, and it was a bit of a struggle trying to get into my car, and it wouldn't be so bad, but it's just chucking it down with rain. It's a storm at the moment, so definitely not the cozy autumn vibes, but definitely the other side of autumn that I do tend to enjoy as well, which is like a good storm. So right now I'm just going to go shopping, and we'll see what we're going to do when we get back in. And so I'm not going to try and speak as much for this video. So I'm sorry if you do prefer quite a talkative video. I just want to be able to make sure that I don't damage my voice anymore, and I'm trying to keep it well rested. Like I said, I don't feel ill, it's just a little bit sore. So the point of this video is that I had seen a few videos going around of people doing like a biannually recharge or biannually meeting, and the person that inspired me to do this video is someone called Jenny Mustard, and I've been following her for years and years now, and I find her videos very inspirational. And so when I seen her doing this sort of video, I quite like the idea of doing it myself for my own benefit, not just to create content, but for my own, as I did something similar last year. So each year I try to do some goals for the year, and from 2022 to 2021 to 2024, it kind of like didn't really go to plan, if you like. So beginning of 2024, I sat myself down and said, okay, what do I really want from this year? And last year, I set myself down to learn how to drive and to pass my driving test within the next year. I also decided to try and look for another job, to try and find a place to volunteer. And so that has happened in 2025. I passed my driving test, I volunteered in Malawi, and so now I'm doing a biannual little setup, if you like, to see where I want to take myself in the last few months of this year. It definitely makes sense to just strip back everything and just to not start from scratch, but to have a review of what you've done so far, what's been successful, what's been unsuccessful. And so I thought I'm going to share that with you guys. So without further ado, let's go into Miller Note and I will show you my plan for the rest of 2025. I thought I'd do a voiceover as it would just be easier to explain what I did. So in Miller Note you can create separate boards and think each board as a mood board. So this one is my biannual plan. And so here I've set out little notes of what I wanted to do for the rest of 2025, and to also think of things that I wanted to start with in 2026 as well. And so underneath each note, if you like, I decided to create a tick sheet, if you like. And then I decided to set up parts of my life where I wanted to focus on. So as you can see, I want to focus on my work/career, my finance, my health and well-being. And then I also decided to work on some inspiration parts as well for my mood board. And I think this is an important thing where you should need to reflect on your own life and what you want to improve on it. And so these sections can obviously vary from person to person as well. So for me, I want to improve on my work and career. I want to improve my finances, my health and my well-being, as well as my home life. And I think you can just do this yourself. This is obviously just an example where you can use. However, I'd recommend looking on what you want to achieve for yourself as well.
isn't necessarily a perfectly written story every time, but having a little like inspirational message or a note to end off on, I just think it like concludes it really nicely. It feels like it's ending then.
Go on then. And I thought for this segment of the video, I'd just go over it with how I plan my autumn photos that I do. So over on Instagram, I do love posting autumnal content, as it's just one of my favourite seasons. Autumn and spring are both my favourite seasons. I just see autumn as like the second spring of the year. And so I'll just go through with how I plan some of my photos basically. So I thought I'd just change the background, just to keep you enticed with the video, and wearing some sort of, you know, very lumberjack colours with a bit of wood in the background. So hopefully you can hear me. I'm outside. It is still a bit windy from the storm this weekend. And so my first tip when it comes to planning any sort of photos is actually to use Pinterest. I love using Pinterest, and that probably just shows my age of who I am. And so first things first is I just like to search autumnal things. So whether that be books, coffee, clothes, keep it very basic. And then I pin them all into a Pinterest board. So over on my Pinterest page, you can find my boards. And then I have, it's the very first one, which is Autumn Inspo. And then here I have a lot of ideas of what I'd want to film or what I'd want to take photos of. So as we can see, it's a lot of quite relatively easy looking photos, but they're also quite detailed as well. So again, from what you can see, there's a lot of like arts and crafts. So that's when I did it with children in school, trying to find ideas of what to craft with them for the season. But I also laid it on more towards what I want to take photos of. So today we are going to tackle some of these photos. I'm thinking this one with the camera and some of the autumn leaves. So we could probably go for a walk. And then I'd like to take, since we're going outside with autumnal leaves, we could probably do this Canon camera one with a book. And we might have to go for a walk to do that. Or we could use some other inspiration. And actually, since there is inspiration behind me, my next tip is to actually look around in an environment. So if you don't have Pinterest or you don't like using Pinterest, I just recommend exploring your environment. So right now, where I live, the trees are starting to slightly turn. They've gone to more of a yellowish green rather than full yellow, orange, red sort of colours. And so I'd recommend planning a day out or a trip somewhere locally. So my third tip is, if you are going to create some sort of autumnal photo, I definitely recommend planning a day out somewhere. And this has tended to work quite a bit personally. So I enjoy going somewhere with friends or going somewhere by myself. And then I will look at the area. I will look to see if there's anything that I can take photos of, whether that is woodland, mainly nature oriented stuff, where I can take good photos of. So when I mentioned about the environment, have a look around and see what it is. So at the moment I'm just in our orchard section of the garden, and sadly the storm has blown off a lot of our apples on the apple tree. And so as you can see here, we have a lot of apples on the floor. However, this would be a perfect opportunity to take some photos with the apples left on the floor. So what I'm doing is I'm just finding a perfect spot, and then I am using a Canon EOS 700D camera with a 18 to 55mm lens, and I have it on manual. And so I'll be using the screen first just to get a sort of a gist of the photo. And so what I'm doing is also getting depth and perception. So I'm using these apples as the foreground just to highlight this section here which mentions about cyanide. And then I'm just going to change the pages to, I think it was 1, 1, 2. So 1970s this was, the story. So I might just prompt this above some apples, again surrounding it with apples as like a border. So let me just show you. Like you've seen, you don't always need a good camera to take some good quality photos. Sometimes you can just use your phone as well. This is a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE phone. I've had this now since 2021, so it's just over 4 years old, and it still does the job. It's been to Malawi with me. It's been pretty much everywhere with me since I've had this phone, from Scotland to America to Malawi, and I recommend having this phone, to be honest. I mean, there's new models now which probably have a much better camera lens, but I recommend having a phone just because it's easy to take photos. You don't feel as shy or as timid to take photos in public rather than having a camera, especially when it comes to filming as well. That's why I like to film both on my phone and the Autumnal Pocket DJI 3, which you're viewing off right now. And so for the second to last photo, I'm going to take photos of my camera in the apples just to show a bit more of an autumnal flair to my posts. So what I'm trying to do is just find some different coloured apples just to show a bit of variety of colour with autumn. There's definitely a few like brown leaves from like last year, which I could probably just fill in maybe to give a bit more variety within the photo. I think it would be cool if I could stack apples around it maybe. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's good. I might even put some more just on top to cover that, and it looks like it's fully surrounded by apples. So I just wanted to show you quickly in the garden before we end the vlog some of the fungi that's been growing. I don't know what sort of fungi they are, but and there's actually some different, there we go, some different ones here as well. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching my productive autumnal weekend. I hope you enjoyed a lot of the tips for my photos of creating autumnal photos, and if you want to see how I edit these photos, comment down below. I'll create a separate video of that and show you how I edit them next. But if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you reached this far into the video, you are the top 1% of people who have watched my full video, so please leave an apple or an autumnal leaf down below just to let me know that you've watched the whole video. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.